Hello, in this video, we will roll out a Contactzilla address book to Android devices using Workspace ONE MDM. We'll start in Contactzilla by creating an Android device connection for the address book that we want to deploy. Then in Workspace ONE, we will add Contactzilla Sync from Managed Google Play, add the Contactzilla managed configuration, and assign it to our Android devices. Once deployed, Contactzilla Sync runs in the background and keeps the address book available in the native Contacts app. For this walkthrough, I will assume that you have Android Enterprise already set up in Workspace ONE and that you already have Android devices enrolled and available in a smart group. So in Workspace ONE, you can see I have a device group set up here for my Android device. And if we come over to Contactzilla, here is my address book with my contacts in, and I can bring these contacts in from a number of sources on a synced interval from MS Entra or Google Workspace. We also have CRM importers, and CSV and vCard is supported, of course, as well. So my address book is ready for deployment, and I'm going to go to Device Connections, and then I'm going to choose Android from the connection type here. For the assigned team member, I'm going to use an MDM user. You can create device connections for individual users as well, and that's useful if you're setting up one person's device who's not part of your MDM. In that case, the user can connect manually by using a QR code. But for a Workspace ONE deployment, we will use an MDM user. And if you haven't created one yet, we can do that now in Team Members, and we will add a reference email address. And please note, it doesn't actually receive an email, it is just a label. And you then, from this drop down here, choose MDM user device only access. And this creates a dedicated deployment user that you can use for any of your MDM deployments. So I'll head back to device connections and assign to the new MDM user, and I'll leave label sync as default. For the access type, most customers choose read-only as it will lock down the contacts, so changes or deletions can't happen to the master address book. You can choose full read-write if you want end users to be able to make updates on their devices that are then written back to the address book. And selective read-only lets you deploy a subset of contacts instead of the entire address book. So I can choose some labels here, and I'll just put a couple in there, and only contacts with those labels will be sent to the device. So I'm going to go with a read-only deployment. I'm going to append the lock emoji to each contact to make it clear to those end users that the contacts are read-only. And then I'll set the number of device connections, which should roughly match the number of Android devices that you are deploying to. So now I'll create the connection, and I will download the profile, and we can then upload that to Workspace ONE. So here in Workspace ONE, I'm going to add Contactzilla Sync from Managed Google Play. So I'll go to Resources, and under Apps, I'll go to the Native Apps, and I'm going to choose the Public tab, and then I'll click Add Application. For the platform, I'll choose Android, and then I'll be searching for Contactzilla Sync. And now I can hit select. So there's nothing specific that we need to change on this first screen. We can hit save and assign. And on the distributions page, let's give it a name. Contactzilla Sync install. And I'm going to choose my Android group here. And the app delivery method we choose is auto. So Workspace ONE will install Contactzilla Sync automatically on the devices in my assigned group. I can skip over restrictions and the tunnel tabs and go straight to application configuration, and I'll toggle on the send configuration. So this is where we send the Contactzilla address book details into the Contactzilla Sync app. Most of these fields at the top here can be left as they are. The first setting that may be of interest is the default sync interval, and this controls how often the Android device will check in for contact updates in minutes. So the default setting of 14,400 is minutes, so that's every 10 days, which I'm happy with that, but you can adjust that here. So we have a few fields to fill in here, and I'm going to open the configuration profile that we downloaded from Contactzilla as it contains the information that I need. So the organization name is here, and it is the Contactzilla team name. And I can actually paste that into the managed by as well. And then I'm going to copy the email address, which is shown here. And the password is also in the configuration profile here. And finally, I'll copy the account name, which is the name of the address book that we're deploying. And I just want to point out here that if you want to deploy multiple address books to the devices, you do have some space here. So we have number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on. And you can put in different device connection details in each of those. So I'm going to scroll back up. And under application policy, we can grant the permissions the app needs by choosing to grant for default permission policy. So we don't need to change anything under the components profile configuration. So now we can just click on create, followed by save, and now publish. So let's have a look at our Android device. And here on the device, I can see that Contactzilla Sync has been installed. And if I open the app, it shows the Contactzilla address book we configured through Workspace ONE. Users don't need to do anything with this app. It just runs in the background and handles the sync. And I can run a quick manual sync if I want to by hitting the sync button. So I'm going to open the native Android contacts app. And here we can see the contacts have been added to the device. So if I hit the hamburger menu, my labels are showing up as lists, which is a great way to organize things. Let's go into the emergency contacts, for example. And if we head over to the Contactzilla dash and find one of these contacts by filtering to the same emergency contact group and picking, for example, Dylan Harper here, if I make a change to his name and hit save, then back over on our phone, we can see that that change has filtered through. And that's it. We now have an address book centrally managed in Contactzilla and deployed through Workspace ONE to the Android's native Contacts app. And if you'd like to try this with your own setup, there is a link to a free Contactzilla trial in the description.